Hello everyone, welcome back. I do hope you've all had a lovely week. I'm doing this early because we are traveling and won't be able to upload on Friday like I usually do. So this is a little bit of a bonus. However, you're going to wait until the following Friday for the next one. So please just bear with me and enjoy. So today we're going to continue with this eye. So far we have done quite a lot on the iris and the eyelashes and detail next to where the tear duct is. And today we shall continue. What I'd like to do today is to do this section here and perhaps that. And if we have time, we'll go and we're into the eyebrow and start that. I do think that this is going to give us an idea of whether we have our tones correct in the eyeball part. So without further ado, let's go ahead. I'm going to use my 2H again. You know that is my favorite pencil for laying down any sort of tonal value to begin with. And the other reason why I use it so much is because it gives you a gradual tone and it doesn't go into a sudden deviation from the one that you have already laid down. So as you can see, we're just building up a nice little tonal area here. If we look at the distance between the tear duct, let's just get that distance in, and the top of this shadow, it is, let me just measure it again, from the bottom to there. So we're looking at going about here. So let me just put that in as a bit of a darker value so that I know where I'm going to. And if we do it out from here to here, we're looking at this sort of distance, and there's a gap here. So we want to make sure that we get that gap and that we start that shadow like that. We just get that outline. It goes up and it goes out, and then it comes around. So we just want to get that shape in. That's all that we're doing at the moment. If I look at the distance from there to there, so let's do it from here to there. That's what we have, and it goes up to about here. So that is where we are going to. I feel that that's a little bit far. So I'm just going to take it back slightly. We can always increase it if we feel it necessary. And I'm taking it right up to that crease of the top eyelid. Right, so now that we have that in place, let's blend it out. It's quite a definite difference here between there and there. We can just get that done. I'm really getting some nice texture from the paper, so that's definitely going to help us. And this comes down here, goes out there. Right, let's blend this out. So I'm going to use this. I know that I used the brushes before, but the reason for my using this on this area here is just so that I get a deeper shadow. It does seem to give a deeper shadow than what the brushes give us. And you can see that this is just from a 2H. I mean, it's just incredible the depth that we are managing to get here. And we are also getting some nice textures from the paper. So I'm hoping that this is showing up on the video. And we'll sort out this line in a minute. We're just going to take that up into nothing over here, although that is a highlight. You can clearly see here that there's a lot of highlight going on around the top of this and even down here. So we're just going to take it out to nothing because we're going to use our kneaded eraser and our Tombow to take those bits of light out. The other thing I want to do is I want to put this in. So this crease ended about there, which is not really where I have got it. I need to bring this down. So make sure that you bring yours down. It goes right down into here. So we can just do a bit of a broken line just to demarcate that. So there we go. And if I look at this, we can put that into shadow, or not shadow, we can blend. We can use our blending stump and put that in because we need to take that out with our erasers as well. This goes down. Just trying to get this whole area sorted out so that we can start with the adjacent area that we have blended out. Okay, right, so let's have a look at this. This is where it's going to start getting interesting. I hope it isn't going to be tedious for you. If it is, then you will know that this is not for you to do this sort of hyper-realistic type of drawing. And you can move on then to whatever it is that you do enjoy doing. It's just something for you to try and see if you do like it. And it's good to try everything, as I said to you before. It's really, really good to try everything so that you know exactly what it is that you like and what you don't like with regards to drawing. So I've got lots and lots of little highlights up here. We also have obviously darker highlights that we're going to put in. But the skin is very, very textured. I know I'm moving around, but it's good to move around because it actually gives you a really, really good indication of what you are doing and where you are on the actual drawing. I just want to shade this in a bit here because very, very likely I'm putting down in this spot because there's a lot of white contrast here. And we're not going to get that if we don't put that bit of shading in there. Because then we're going to go in with our blending stump and we're going to add in some of these little dark creases that we see here. Got a lot of white reflections. There's one up here. And then I want to take this and just gently take this in. I'm doing this area here now. Then what I'm doing is I'm just sweeping this across between the two shaded areas. Obviously the background is when we started. We lay down that beautiful light blended charcoal. And all I'm doing is I'm just moving this eraser out from that darker area down into the lighter area. And then adding in some of these highlights as I go along just to make it look a little bit more realistic. I'm now going to just be very, very careful when you lift with your kneaded eraser because you can lift too much. So just rather do less because you don't want to be trying to put shadow back in again. It's not going to work. We did see that before. Just want to take this out here. This line I just feel is a little bit too rounded and sharp. So I'm just lifting out ever so lightly around here just to sort of get a kind of a blurred edge. this around here is very, very light, so I'm actually going to lift out the graphite that we laid down initially. And it goes down to here. And again, just soften those edges by tapping your kneaded eraser onto it. Across this side, you can see that there's quite sort of biggish streaks. It isn't like this, which are little tiny pockets of white light. So that one goes across here, goes from the edge of here, it works its way across. So just gently put it in. You don't have to put it in completely at first, and then you can just take it out. Use the side of your Tombow. Make sure it's clean every time you go back in, because the one thing that you don't want to be doing is putting more graphite down because you have it on your Tombow. These we're just going to have to randomly put down. They are all over. And the best way to do this, if you want an absolutely photorealistic drawing, the best thing to do is to do the grid method. And that's something else that we'll sort of touch on at a later stage. It's not my favorite thing. I find it incredibly tedious, but it is the way that most of these artists that you see with these incredible photorealistic drawings, it is how they manage to get them so perfect, because they work from each square on the grid. They enlarge it on their devices and then work each square individually so that they get a very, very realistic look. Right, so you can see that we've sort of got that look. If we go in with our blending stump, now I'm not using this one. I said to you in one of the other tutorials that it's quite a blunt edge. We could use it probably in this area here to get that look, and go down very, very lightly. Don't go in too hard. Just go down lightly, because you just want to build it. You don't want to end up with a situation where you're trying to erase and you can't because you've gone in with too much graphite. Remember that you do have graphite on these blending stumps, and this is what helps to add to the depth of your drawing in certain areas. I just want to add this in here. There is quite a big crease here. I'm just going to add that in with this blending stump because it is a bit blunter than the other one. And then I'm going to go in with the one in the other thin one and put in some of these marks, and we can do it between each one as we go. I'm just going to put this in across here. There is a crease going down here, and then there is one just below it. I can get that a little bit deeper. I'm going to take my 2H and I'm just going to fill in a bit more of this area here just to get a deeper, darker. I'm going to take it across because I do have these marks, well, not marks, but indentations in the skin. So we can use our 2H to delicately put that in and put that fold in across the top there. And we come down here and just really get this shadow in that's in the fold of this eyelid. Right, going down into here. Let me just blend this out. Blend this out so that it falls into the crease of that lid. And now we can start using this small stump to put in these deeper bits of shadow here. And that will start giving us a more 3D effect on the skin. I'm hoping that you have done a screenshot on this of this photograph and you have printed it out so that you have a nice clear photograph of it like I'm working from. Some that go down, some that go across, and just do it randomly, because the thing is that when you get stuck into it and you start, sort of wondering and worrying and not quite sure which way to go, just pick an area and try and emulate what you see in the photograph, and it will, when you walk away from it, as I've said to you before, always walk away from your work and have a look at it from a distance, because the difference is quite incredible that you see when you are out of the drawing rather than sitting in it and trying to make a decision as to whether you have enough detail or not. And as I said to you, if you take a photograph, this is really dark here. I want to try and get that in. I think that there are some eyelashes here that I need to put in. So I'm going to put those in. I'm using my 2H again, just to give me the position of them, and then go in with my 2B. So you don't want to do too much on the eyelashes and then find that they're in the wrong position, or you feel that they need to be moved. So I think that might be a bit better. There's a big clump here. Okay, back to these marks. So you can see that there's a lot of marking going on down around this area. This is all just in the skin. We all have this. If you start really looking at somebody's eyes, which is what you will start doing once you realize that this is the kind of drawing that you really like, and you'll see all kinds of marks, and you'll want to draw just about everything that you see. When you get to this edge here that we've taken out between this area that we had down originally, just take it out with your blending stump so that it isn't such a big difference between the two areas. There's a really dark mark down here. I don't know if my blending stump has got enough on it. Just want to get that in though. And there's a mark here. This goes up and this comes around. I'm hoping that I've got enough contrast between there and there. Let me just take this out here. There we go. So there is a lot of detail, even in this little white area here. There's a lot of detail, and we can just carefully put that in with our blending stump, just to help us get those highlights, and also to show that that is a deeper, darker area than this area here of the eye. And the only reason why I am adding in a bit more here is because that is definitely a bit darker than what I have, and also across this side. So I just want to get this a bit deeper and a bit darker, similar to what the photograph is showing us. And then we're going to go back in and we are going to take out some more white highlights. Okay, so if I look in this area, we've got a very, very little one. And we've got those going up there. We've got a cluster of them over here. We've got this going up there. One or two extra. A lot going on here, people. An awful lot going on here. We have very, very light. Okay, so now what we're going to try is, we're going to try and mark this out. I'm going to try it. I haven't done this before. So this is all trial and error with you. And let's just see if we can get in some of those. They're not wrinkles. I don't think they're wrinkles. They are just creases, I suppose. One could call them creases. See if we can demarcate them. Do it very, 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 very lightly, because you don't want to have to go in and erase it. You're not going to be able to in this area once you've put it down, because you will be erasing whatever you've done underneath it, and you don't want to be doing that. I'm going to break that line, take that across, and it doesn't, you know, the thing is this, is that you may think to yourself, this is a bit silly because you can't even see it, but it does make a difference. It really does. It's the same as this outline that we've done here around the eyeball, the iris. It really does make a difference to your drawing. The eye picks it up. It's very, very subtle, and the eye will pick it up and literally know that this is what is going on in the skin area. What I'm doing here is I'm shading. I'm sort of what they call glazing, just to try and get that deeper, darker area that we can see, and that is a highlight. I'm also going to glaze here, what we call glaze here. Don't go over your highlights though, just do a very, very light hand across the skin. Remember that we are dealing with skin here, and we're trying to emulate or copy what is on the photograph, which is not an easy feat, as you can all see now, as we start getting into these incredible details here. And we can only hope that when we move away and we look back at it again, that we have managed to get a pretty good skin detail. Just pushing back some of these because they are a little bit too big. If that's how you're feeling about yours, then push back on them as well. I'm just going back around this crease. Just want to get that deeper, darker shadow on the top of the eye lid. You can do those creases that go around here. There's a whole lot of creases that are going across this way. Get that look as well. Just highlight those so that they also stand out. Okay. So I'm hoping that that looks like skin. This is the first time I've done really detailed skin, and I'm doing it with you guys, and we can all just learn. Perhaps you can put some comment into the comment section for me. Give me an idea of how you felt and whether it's something that you will be pursuing or not. It does help me with my video uploads so that I have an idea of whether you are enjoying it or not. Perhaps there's something else that you would like me to go over. I'm quite happy to do that. And please like the video because it does help me continue. And again, I'm just using my 2H, just filling in a few little areas where I see just needs a little bit more depth, because remember what we said at the beginning, the more you add, the more you see, and the more you start realizing that there are areas that need a bit more depth or something taken out. And it happens as you go along. It doesn't matter what subject you are drawing. It's quite interesting because when you think that you have it all down, you start adding these sort of areas, you realize that another area needs to be either highlighted, in other words, graphite removed, or you need to deepen the shadow. All I'm doing is I'm laying out here just the shape of it for our next tutorial, because this is the area that we will be working on in our next tutorial. As you can see that there is a gap here. There's some nice light reflection there. And this comes down with a beautiful crease at the bottom of the eye, around the eye. Beautiful, beautiful crease. I'm just going to gently take this out into nothing. This one has even more of a disappearing, it doesn't have a hard line. We spoke about hard lines and soft lines in one of the other tutorials. So this one disappears quite dramatically. There's quite a deep, darker area here. Where those creases are. This comes around. I know that I put in those white highlights, but I'll put them back in again. Just want to get this shape here. There we go. Yo, this really has got the most amazing lines, all of these here. This is what we're going to try and do the next tutorial. So just lay out your shading for it. You can see that there's a piece here that comes across. We just need to get that in. Some amazing, amazing pores and wrinkles and all sorts of things going on here. And remember, we're going to lift, so even if your area is too big or you've gone over a highlighted area, I think I've just gone over that. It's fine because we can fix it. Just take this into nothing. Take that into nothing. Take this down. We have a nice line there. Just want to deepen this area. I'm deepening this area here. So that when we come into it next week, we get a really good contrast on those wrinkles and highlights. Right. Then I think before I go, let's outline the eyebrow. Let's get that shape in. Don't have much graphite on my blender. Got all these stray hairs. All these stray hairs that are coming down. That's fine, we can put those in. So I want to see if I've got more graphite on this one to give a bit more detailed line here for the eyebrow. Not much more. And we'll take out the highlights after we've put the hairs in. Okay, not much there, but I have got more or less of an outline of where that eyebrow is going to go. And we have this section in here, this section down the bottom here with all of these pores. I think we're going to do just a few of those. It does go outside of what we initially laid down. But I think it'll be good just to try those and see how it turns out. Right, everybody, I do hope that you have enjoyed this session, and I do hope that you have a wonderful week. See you again soon. Bye-bye.